Today's guest is known as the godmother of mountain biking. She lived a life few can only begin to imagine and has been a remarkable trailblazer for women in the freeride space. A 6-time world whip-off champion, a groundbreaking female rider and World Cup racer, and one of the stars of Red Bull's new film, Anytime. We are so excited to finally welcome Casey Brown to Just Ride. How are you, Casey?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Welcome to the James Bond suite, where Daniel Craig apparently stayed for his whole time here in Solden whilst filming, and they've like made a museum. Did you see all the photos of him on the way in?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Beautiful,
wow.
isn't it? Yeah, lovely, eh? So
lovely.
Good. You're here for Swatch 9s.
Yes.
Looking out the window, I think it's unlikely.
Yes.
There's a lot of snow coming down and high winds.
Might rent some skis later.
Yeah, I'll come skiing with you.
Right,
yeah, I'm quite good on skis.
Yeah, I bet you
Are
you, Eliot?
No, but I'm sure you're not either. Casey, I feel like we always start with people's origins here, but I feel like you have probably the most interesting origin story out of anyone. You grew up in rural New Zealand, like living off the grid. Is that right?
Yeah, we were the most remote family in New Zealand.
Like that's the title of
that was our title.
Brown.
Yeah, we had like news stations come to do documentaries on us and stuff. Like we were David Attenborough. No, just kidding.
Here you can see the Brown family.
Pretty much.
What, in like the bush, in the middle of nowhere?
Bush.
Fully no electric or
fully
anything?
bushed. We had a
generator.
We had a generator and a wind turbine and a couple solar panels. Early days of solar panels, but yeah.
What, no TVs or enough for
We had a fisherman's radio. I feel like I came from like the 19th century, like from my childhood to now. I feel like I've seen the technology grow far more than anyone else because I started with candlelight.
No way. And what did you have? Was it a house then in the woods?
Yeah. My dad built a house out of hardwood out of the jungle, basically.
What, you literally found a spot and basically was like, we're going to set up home here. And that was it. You built a house from what you found around you and then lived off the land.
Yeah.
That was your earliest life.
That was my earliest life.
You've blown Rob's mind.
Yeah.
But you're Canadian, right?
Half Canadian, half New Zealand.
So where were you born?
Queenstown, actually.
That makes you New Zealand.
Yep.
But you spent your whole life. I've commentated you on it only as a Canadian. I would have said to you.
I learned how to mountain bike in Canada when I moved there.
Do most people think you're Canadian?
I think so. My accent.
This has blown my mind.
I mean, I can change accents if you want. Halfway
God,
through.
New Zealand. No way. I never knew that. I
so
never
people
knew that.
do move around after they're born.
Yeah.
That is what
feel like
Casey did.
You're the most Canadian person I know. That's where I'm coming at it from.
So Casey, when you were there, I guess, like, what was that like? Like, you grew up kind of adventuring. What was it like being a kid in that environment?
It was like full freedom. I mean, my dad said there was crocodiles in the forest just to make us stay a little bit close, but there's literally nothing that can kill you there. So
New Zealand's all right, eh?
It's pretty good, yeah. And he was a crate fisherman. My mom took care of the 5 kids. We were just like this sort of family unit in the middle of nowhere. And we had lots of kind of trampers and trekkers coming through.
What's it? A tramper?
Yeah, that's what they call hikers in New Zealand.
I got you. And how long did you live this lifestyle then?
I was kind of up until I was 6, and then we started moving back and forth from the inland back and forth, kind of moving out of that zone and into.
So for 6 years, you only met people that were sort of hiking by and stuff. They were your visitors, and that was about it.
Yeah, and the odd trip would go to Civilization every like 3 months for supplies. So
what?
Yeah.
What? That is mad. Do you look back on it as an amazing time, or?
Yeah, definitely.
You loved
it? We actually did a family trip back there this New Zealand summer. And
is the house still there?
The house is still there. It's a hunting cabin. It's like fully intact. It's a little different than it was, but it's beautiful. Might not be there for very much longer because the river keeps carving the bank out. So.
But that must have been unbelievable. That was the first time you'd been back since you were a kid.
No, I have been back a few times, but this time we flew in on the heli and then we all hiked out, and it's about 25K through the rugged bush, crossing rivers up to here, and we had my nieces with me, and it was just like their first experience doing that kind of thing. So yeah, it was pretty fun. Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's so proper. I had no idea that you'd live like that. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Where did when did bikes come into the picture? Like, do you remember kind of your first moment?
Yeah.
Like, first jump?
So, so bikes sort of were a thing that my brother and my oldest sister moved to Canada with my dad when my parents split up. So I would speak to my brother over fax.
No.
Drawing pictures back and forth. And I remember him.
Forget the noise when you ring a fax
Yeah.
on by accident.
Yeah, can we get that in here?
You remember it?
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
bad.
Yeah. At that point, I was probably 10 or 11, and our farm that we'd moved to had burnt down, and we'd lived in the first like actual house in my whole life, and we lived in a town.
Was that weird?
Super weird.
Was
yeah.
it?
Yeah, so crazy. Anyways, yeah, the fax machine was a great tool to communicate across big seas. And my brother sent me like a picture or like a sketch of some rock shocks that he was trying to, and I didn't know what the hell they were, but I was like, my brother's my hero. I want some too.
Load it, the A4 back into the fax machine, send it back.
Yeah.
Is that what it was, wasn't it? It was mad.
And that was my first kind of like hearing his passion about mountain biking and mountain bike parts, and like trying to get like his bike together was like the first inception of like, oh my God, this thing sounds amazing and it's so exciting. And so in 2002, I moved to Canada, and my dad got me a mountain bike, and he actually built a mountain bike for me first. It was horrible. And
less than 20 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah. So, yeah, and that was sort of the first kind of what kind of sparked the fire, I guess, sparked the flame.
Did you know that like a career in mountain biking was possible? Because you were also like insanely good freestyle skier.
I didn't know, like it was always kind of looked like a bit of a pipe dream for the women back then, because the way they were portrayed was just like totally not my style at all. And I was like, I just want to be like one of the Freeride guys. Like they're the coolest.
From the beginning.
From the beginning, like New World Disorder was like my bread and butter, like for breakfast. And I didn't know anything about World Cup racing. I didn't know anything. Like I remember trying to get enough points for my first World Cup back when I was like 20 something, and I didn't know you needed like a certain amount. I was like, I just gotta get as many as I can.
So why did you like, because you've done so many different disciplines. That's when we met, what, like 2011 or 12, like you were on the World Cup circuit. And so what was the thinking for you growing up? You know, you discover bikes, you have this free ride, and then why go into World Cup downhill racing? I
saw that, honestly, seeing like Miranda Miller taking that route and being like, holy, she was such big time back then. Like she was the same age as me, but I was like, holy, she's got all these sponsors. She's like in a training program. Whoa, she is pro. And I was like, well, I wonder if like that's like the only way you can really get noticed back then as a chick. So I was
racing was it, wasn't it? I mean, even when I started racing, which was going back, do I need to say the early 90s, but there was nothing else except downhill racing. You had to go downhill racing, really.
Yeah, it's kind of
it was almost like that again.
Social media,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was just kind of starting back then, and it was, didn't really know where it was going with social media. So, racing was always like kind of a stepping stone. I never really like, even if I did well, I never felt like, woo. I was just like, that was cool. Like maybe they made a mistake on my time.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I think people probably now don't realize how good you were. Like you were podiuming at World Cup downhill races, and
I was commentating on it.
Right?
Right. I mean, that's how I know you mostly actually as a World Cup racer.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
kind of,
Can you tell just maybe like one or two stories about you on the Bergamot team?
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Like it was Eddie Masters, Jack Moyer. To kick this off, the one that I remember the most was there was a race in France.
I think it was
Maribor.
Or
Maribel.
Maribel, yes.
And you guys had this van called the Black Pearl.
Oh, the Black Pearl.
And at one point, you guys had locked the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And go on.
Okay,
go on from there.
So Eddie is awesome, but doesn't know a thing about vehicles.
Quite a big butt there.
And he owns the team, runs the team.
Doesn't know a thing. Went to the UK prior to buy like our team vehicle. Found one for super cheap from the circus. Like the circus should be the last, like the last place, like where vehicles go to die. So.
Did it come with a ringmaster?
I don't know. It came with a probably came...
Eddie Masters.
That's why he bought it.
That's why he got it. And he thought he'd make it super sick looking. Got it a black wrap job. Spent all the money on a black wrap job.
Stealth.
Looks sick.
Did it?
No compression left in the engine. You'd literally be in first gear going up any sort of grade, like 0.5%. You're gearing down. Yeah. Yeah. This thing was like terrifying to be inside of.
Oh God!
Like the Black Pearl, great name for it.
How long did it see the season out then?
Yeah, kind of.
Well, we'll get there.
Kind of.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious.
There's so many stories about this vehicle. Remember, where do I start? Yeah, like I don't know, one of the trips through Germany, the guys were hungover and bored, and they were like trimming the tires because they knew we were gonna be needing like trimmed race like mud spikes. Anyways, Eddie was like trying to light them on fire inside of the Black Pearl. There's like smoke pour. I'm like trying to get air outside of the thing because he wants a little campfire inside this thing on the metal floor.
What?
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it was messed up. There were puking everywhere. It was crazy times. And this one time we're coming around a corner trying to make a ferry back to the UK. Both of the back door, no, we got a flat tire. There's a dually. So one of the dualies blew off. It jostled the vehicle enough to blow the back doors open.
What?
All of our shit goes onto the highway.
What?
I was looking out the window. There's like wheels catching up to us because we're probably going so slow. There's like,
oh my,
like all of our
God.
shit is just all over the highway. We're trying to make a ferry. It's a Sunday in Europe. There's no chance we're getting help. So yeah, I get out. I'm like collecting our stuff, trying to dodge vehicles. We get it all back together. We limp it over to garage. Somehow, like some old dude helps us out. We somehow make the ferry. Anyways, that's just one of the craziest stories.
It was like that. I remember it was like that all year because like even the one in Maribel that you guys ended up cutting off the steering wheel.
So yeah,
and then like the
cutting off the steering
wheel. No, we didn't cut the steering wheel off. Right. So our mechanic was super tired, put the wrong key in the ignition, snapped the wrong key off in the ignition.
He's quite forceful for a mechanic then.
Yeah. So snapped the key off and then was like, okay, it's all downhill we got to build our bikes. It's like practice day. Somehow our frames show up like early morning on day one of practice. So we got to get up early. Snap the key off. All the guys are like trying to unlock the steering lock because, you know, when the steering's locked and that all three guys on one side of the steering wheel. All right, we can coast down if we just get the steering lock free. Snap. The whole steering wheel falls off.
Broke the steering wheel off.
Broke it off.
I mean, out of the frying pan and into the fire.
Yeah.
Terrible situation.
Terrible situation. And so the mechanic's like, okay, what are we going to do? So we get a couple of vice grips. And we actually used vice grips to steer that thing for the rest of the season.
No, you
two sets.
Like handlebars?
Like handlebars.
Mini handlebars to drive a vehicle around Europe.
Yeah.
There's a video.
That's incredible.
Coming down like a mountain pass.
Oh my.
You see the camera pan down to a pair of vice grips. But it's so interesting, Casey, because
because you're still alive for a start.
One. Yeah. But I heard you say this quote. I think it was in your This Is Home where you said like sometimes you have to do things that you maybe don't want to do, and they turn into stepping stones for the things that you do want to do. And so like you had these moments, right? Like your career where you knew that racing wasn't the thing, that it was always just like a stepping stone. Did you feel like that about like Crankworks and like was, you know, as we like transition into Freeride, like this whole era of your life?
Yeah.
Was that really?
I think so. Crankworks was aiming sort of freeridey at the early stages. Like it kind of was in its growing pain years where it didn't really know where it was going to go. And there's this, like women's works and stuff, which was kind of cool, where they're trying to like include women. That was great effort. And then, yeah, I guess it sort of turned into more of like when people want to see like podiums and, you know, first, second, third makes sense for a lot of people that like non-endemics that don't know the sport. So it's like it kind of grew into more of that. And that's when I was like, whip offs for me, like that's my thing. And I'll do whatever else in it, but I'm not like here to, you know, be a pump track star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess the whole time you're still having to be a professional athlete, and like, you know, you have these sponsors that are like, yeah, cool, you want to do free ride, but like, if you could win something.
Yeah, exactly. So like after Bergamot, I was pretty over it. I was either going to go get a real job.
Over downhill racing.
Over like trying.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
Over trying. I was just like, as, I don't know, working all winter long to try and make enough money to be a mountain bike racer in the summer, and then like going into deficit trying to, you know, it's like, it's exhausting. So I was like, either I gotta get like something's gotta change, something's gotta give. I either gotta like do this free ride thing and give it a go if anyone can support me in that, or like, something has to change. So I went to like Eurobike and put my name out there, and nothing really came of that. And then Trek called me up, and then they were like, we'll put you on the C3 team, but you got to race enduro as well. Okay. So it was like another one. I was pretty like, oh, enduro. I've never.
You were good at downhill, right? You were top 5 World Cup finishes.
I mean, and enduro, like,
and enduro, like, only just to let everyone know that you're sounding like, you know, it was hard work and that, but you were successful at it. You were brilliant at it, you know.
Well, it's funny that you were so good at it, even though it was like, okay, I'll go and race World Cup downhill. Okay, I'll go and race EWS.
And smash it. You know, and be never the best in the world.
All right. Yeah, it was fun. Like, it was always like, I was like, oh, I really don't want to like race my bike for 8 hours a day, but then doing it, you like,
like, you know what I mean? Like,
and then you find like little like the beauty in it, and like the camaraderie between the riders, and you find like these little things that you never would have seen if you didn't actually give it a go. So it was like, I learned so much from all of like downhill racing. Downhill racing was super character building, and then enduro racing was like, like finding that really cool camaraderie between riders, which was kind of missing in the downhill world a little bit. So it was kind of it was beautiful.
Downhill's not that, everyone's quite against each other, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a little bit. For sure. Yeah, for sure. And it has to be that way.
Very
it has to be that way.
Damn
so,
right.
Yeah.
And so you like talking about the C3 project, because it was kind of this like Trek's version of a free ride team.
Yeah.
Like you had Simonuk and people like that, and Vincenbergen, and so you were one of the first, especially like first women to be in some of these big films, right? Like Anthill's Films and stuff like that, and kind of leads us to like Anytime as well. But talk about you doing these film projects. What was that like?
It was like the dream come true. It was honestly, I felt like I'd like climbed a hill, pushing rocks up a hill for so long, and then like getting invited to do a movie with Anthill was just like, I don't know.
Was that everything you wanted? That was kind of,
this
is it. I don't really like downhill that was where you wanted to be.
That's exactly where I wanted to be.
Was it?
And it was just like, I don't know, filming and going to really unique locations and like seeing really cool builds and helping like create this, I don't know, this feeling on a bike and pushing it out to the world. And like, it's sort of I know from personal experience, like that was always the biggest inspiration for me was mountain bike movies. So the other side of that was just like really, really fulfilling.
So talk about Anytime. Like, how did that your segment in Oregon come about? Like, you know, it's you and Robin, especially. Like, did you have a big hand in producing it and coming up with a concept?
No, I didn't. I wasn't even supposed to be in the movie, and like I was gonna be in the movie, and then I got injured in New Zealand, like kind of gnarly, and I wasn't gonna make the time cut for getting the segment in, and then Darcy called me up about something else, and I was like, hey, I'm feeling pretty good. Like, how's that Oregon segment going?
Drop it.
Got a spot for one more. And I was like pretty hyped. I didn't know what we were going, because all I'd ridden in Oregon really was like Proving Grounds course, and I know the dirt there was like not the greatest. And
Really?
I was like, oh, what are we in for here? And then we ended up going to this amazing ranch, a Choco Ranch, and we had like, I think it was 17,000 acres to our disposal.
I hear you say you like being in the wilderness. You definitely were there.
We were in the wilderness.
The images you see of that, just that massive forest there, it does. I was like, I just want to go there and be in America and live there. And it had that feeling about it.
It really does, honestly. Like driving in, there's just like elk everywhere and like wild horses and like, for sure. It really gets you going. Gets you going.
I like all that stuff.
Takes you back. Yeah, you and Rob are I'm gonna see you guys like out in a,
middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was this beautiful location, just like so much different like terrain feature. Like you had buttes and like rolling hills and steep sections, and there was like even a bit of scree out there that we got to ride, like sandy scree, and we had our Can-Ams out there, so that was really cool. We could just like hoon around and find places to ride and go on little missions and be like, okay, what does that look like over there? It was like such a dream.
Yeah.
Like just having all that just freedom out there and being able to sort of, build whatever you want to build and create what you want to ride. So
probably life don't get much better than those moments.
Really doesn't.
No, it's right.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
And you were filming it with Robin Gooms, and she said Casey was the first girl I saw taking the step into freeride, and she's kind of what inspired me. Can you talk about you guys' relationship?
Oh yeah, Robin's the best. Robin actually comes from a really crazy background too. I'm sure you'll do an interview with her, and she comes from a tiny island in the middle of. It's in New Zealand, but it's 3 hours flight off the mainland of New Zealand.
So it's pretty remote.
It's super remote.
No way.
Yeah.
Is that right? A 3-hour flight. So that's literally like a rock in the middle of an ocean somewhere.
Yeah.
Rob, we did do an interview.
I know, but did we talk about that? I don't remember her mentioning she lived on an island in the middle of nowhere. That's why I'm here. I know we'd interviewed her. I'm just smoothing over that bit.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I know. It's okay. Whistler last year.
Okay.
yeah,
8 vodkas. Right, move on.
yeah. Remembering well. So I met Robin in New Zealand at Crankworks, I think, for the first time, and it was sort of like I didn't really know who she was, and she was just like this young up and coming mountain biker, and I don't know. And then like at formation, she came there to be a digger, and I remember her like sending a backflip on her high pivot bike at the time. It might have even been a 29er. I don't know. I was like,
Really?
this girl shouldn't be digging. This girl should be take my spot. Yeah. She's such a charger on a bike, and like so inspirational, like how her process has developed over the years. Like she hasn't been in the sport for very long, but she has like changed so much and like figured it out. Like, just she's taken notes, to say the least, and like figuring out the process, and
So it would be, I mean, it feels like everyone, like Rob mentioned it, I think a lot of people see you as the godmother of freeride. If you want to,
some title that. You like that one?
Feeling old.
There is that.
Wow.
It goes with it, maybe.
You're old, but it's just kidding. No, but it feels like there's all these like really strong personalities in women's freeride.
Yeah.
And it feels like you guys have all been pushing so much, right? Like you have your own event, like Hannah Bergman has her own event. There's formation. How do you see the freeride movement? Like you've been there from, I mean, modern women's freeride movement. I feel like you've been there from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, seeing all these women come together and like want it so badly is so refreshing. And I feel like having like events to support these women that, the events that I wish I had when I was a Grom, and just like giving that to the freeride community, the women's freeride community, is just like trying to help boost and bring everyone up as you're coming up kind of thing. Like sort of, I don't know, adding some fuel to the fire is just like what needs to happen, especially because I mean, we haven't had the support over the years to do it. So like this is a catch-up period, basically. We need to just like, we need to put input, like, I don't know, resources so they can, hone their skills and like do everything that they can to sort of catch up so we can, you know, now we're joining the Man in Rampage, and, you know, it's just like, that's like something that just has to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about it before you came in. To me, like I said, well, but Formation was kind of, which was 2018, the first one, was to me was like really the first time I saw women doing freeride, right? And Eliot was like, yeah, but that's because you're not in it, you know. And I look at sporting events as, you know, as a commentator or whatever. But the movement has been there a lot longer with you as well, right? And it sounded like then that all these women then have been waiting for these events to come along for them, right? It's not like these events have appeared and then like we're finding women for them. It's the other way around. Is that how you see it?
I feel like there's a lot of hungry women out there that like.
And they
really
have been for a while.
Absolutely.
Not just the last 5 years.
Not just the last 5 years. But it's definitely like peaked in the last 5 years with, I think COVID really.
Public.
I think COVID did a really like, I don't know, I think it really helped. Because I think because it like sort of there wasn't as many like racing events and social media. We had basically a sitting audience, so it was the time to like sort of, I don't know, hone your skills and get good at mountain biking.
It was a little reset period almost.
Kinda,
yeah, that's right. Everyone had to stop what they were doing and have a good think.
Yeah.
For 2 years.
Yeah,
it's true.
Zoom out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like from so long ago, you have intentionally been like, I want to go to Rampage. I want women to be in Rampage.
Yeah.
And now, like you said, we are there. Like,
yeah.
What does it mean to you? How are you feeling?
It means the world to me. Honestly, I feel like if it didn't, I sort of like after last year's sort of like no formation and no women at Rampage, it was like.
Crushed you a bit, huh?
It was crushing. It was like, I got to step back because this is like, it's a lot of energy I've been putting in. And like, if it's not going to happen, like, I just got to focus on me and what I want to do and like keep pushing that freeride kind of stone forward and like keeping that thing going and keeping the skills going. But if Rampage doesn't want us, that's fine. But yeah, now.
Did it make you feel like that might have been the end of the road a little bit last year? Were you like,
a little bit?
Yeah,
but I
like
also had like, I never gave up hope.
No.
I never gave up hope. I was like. Come on, I have to.
You said you just kept doing what you were doing. I mean, that.
Yeah, you gotta like. It's like either you're gonna go to Rampage or you're gonna keep trying to prove that you can go to Rampage.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Though.
Yeah. So.
And now you are.
And now we are. Yeah.
And what is that feeling? You know, we're a few weeks out. What is it feeling like now? Are you getting nervous? I mean.
I did 100 push-ups before coming here.
Did you or not?
I did. I didn't even need a coat coming here. It was so warm.
Bowling through the.
That's like
sweating on my way.
Yeah.
It's like a Rocky training, like.
Yeah, I mean, do what you can when you're on the road. I mean, trying to get it in where I can. But yes, I know I've dug at Rampage back in 2018, so I know how hard the digging days are going to be. It's like the riding is going to be not necessarily the easy part, but physically probably the easy part.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah,
you could be exhausted by the time you get to
it.
Yeah. It's brutal out there.
So brutal.
Can you talk a little bit about that process? Like, it's a venue that has had a Rampage before, but you guys have a clean slate, like right on the other side of a ridge.
Yeah, so this is a zone that was scoped for the men, but it wasn't big enough to fit all the men. So because we're just a crew of 8, it's perfect for us. And it's a fresh venue, which I think is super important because previous formations and stuff, we've only ever refurbished old lines. And that only proves that we're able to refurbish an old line that we know that works, so we can watch videos of it and like be like, that looks like good speed for that. And you can call up and like, hey, what's the speed for this? So a fresh venue is going to be like the next level for us, absolutely. And I think because it is a fresh venue, we're going to have to collaborate really well and sort of team up and it's going to be a group effort to get this Rampage for us the first year, I think, just because, it's going to be pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot for you to take in, and you know what I mean, like you say, and the fact that you've never sort of done a competition where you've built brand new fresh lines, that's mad, isn't it? But like you say, what an opportunity.
Yeah.
What an opportunity to see what I can't wait to see what they get up to. What do you think we're going to see from the women's rampage then? Big tricks or big?
I think a combination. I mean, there's such a diverse a range of riders at Rampage for women. Like we got Cami Noguera, who's so gnarly on a bike.
Sent the road gap at Hardline in Wales. First to do it, I was like, whoa, that is huge. She's brave, huh?
She's super brave and like can line up like really gnarly lines and just send it. Yeah.
She seems to have like no mental block.
And then we have no mental block. And then we got like Robin and Vero, who are like so good at tricks. So I think we'll see a wide range of
all sorts.
We'll see all sorts out there because just like the men, we see like them. They build their lines to their strengths, and I think that'll be sort of what we'll see at.
It's
Rampage.
Interesting that Rampage, right? It is like the pinnacle of free ride, but it's also a competition, which kind of can be like right? Like How do you see it? Like, are you going there to win? Or
I honestly think that going there and getting a top to bottom is winning. Like for everyone, if you make it down and you complete your line, that is such a huge feat. Like, I don't know if it's even portrayed enough on like our previous Rampage, our live streams and stuff. You don't see the dig days or anything or what actually goes into it. It's just like there's this whole back end that's like so much bigger than just the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For day, like.
Yeah, and it's just probably the hardest 8 days of anyone's life. It was
interesting. We were having
massive pressure. All of it.
Having a conversation with Shimon Godziak, and he was kind of saying that, right? Like the thing that you do there is try to push your limits, and if you do your line, and if you like achieve your goal, then that's exactly what everyone needs to do.
That's just like you can see the celebrations like after people do their run, even if it's not a winning run, and they're just like, whew, we did it. Like that's such a huge feat.
What do you think about that mentally? Like having been there, like, and been at the top, and even when you're at the bottom on competition day, you've never seen anything that is, you could cut the tension with a knife. Like it's so gnarly.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Like mentally going into that, have you done any preparation?
I feel like my whole life has been a bit of a preparation. Like going and racing World Cups, that's sort of
such
the same,
high pressure, isn't
especially like first World Cup of the season, that pressure.
Yeah.
Quite gnarly. And then just rinse and repeat on that. All those situations where you've, even like the formation runs, like when you push up to just do a run that the drone's going to follow you, doesn't mean anything. You're not going for anything. You've hit it before, but now it's like time for it to be filmed. Even that like pressure of, like you got to do a T to B, figure it out on the fly. And then, the Rampage with all the spectators and stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be probably on another level, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Potentially to anything else
I think
women
so.
have done. It's a much bigger stage live. I mean, it's mad. Yeah, that's right.
But honestly, it's what we asked for, and I think what we're going to see with women's inclusion in the sport, because we're at Rampage now, like the trickle-down effect for the whole industry is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to just be doing Rampage. This is not just for us. This is for, like, all the little girls out there that, want to be a mountain biker and, now have an option to, like, set their goals at that height.
I mean, 2024 has been a pretty amazing year. Like, we have Rampage, we have the first women's slopestyle, and we've had Anytime. And I think, to your point, like, you've been a mentor to, Lucy Van Estering.
Yeah. She's awesome.
Yeah. And how has that been? Like, you have seen kind of firsthand what that trickle-down effect looks like, and you've kind of been pushing that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I just, like, that's all I ever wanted when I was a grom. So all I'm trying to do is just give as much as I can of that to these now like really passionate young riders that want to be free ride. And I think that's super important to support the young ones and support like the girls around you and try and bring everyone up. So
has it been as astonishing for you as it has for me over the last few years, really, to see, like, more publicly perhaps, the women doing what they're doing. And I mean that not just in freeride, but also like, well, look at hardline this year we had in Tasmania, where we saw Lou Ferguson and and like young
Completely
Gracie Hemstreet do a full run of a hardline. I know it's not freeride, but
it's,
I mean it's massive, it's huge, it's a new thing.
Yeah, massive downhill track, like crazy jumps. And again, I feel like the pressure that they would have felt at the top of that run would have been similar to a Rampage run.
Oh, you know, they'd only just jumped that big finish line jump on its own, not as a full run just before. And it was like, we were in the live, wondering if they were going to be in the live because, are they going to do a full run? They were like, yeah, we're going to send it. And they both did.
That's amazing.
And honestly, that's how we kicked the broadcast off. And that was like one of the big highlights of it. I could not believe it. Like, it was mad to see these women crazy just going down this massive 70-foot gap, you know. I mean,
incredible.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It's a good time for women's sport, right?
I think
women's
so.
Mountain biking right now. It's coming.
Growing.
It's happening.
And women's
it's
sport in general.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, across the board. It's just like it's like this collective energy that's just coming up. Yeah.
Where would you like to see the sport go in the future?
In the future? I feel like we've really this year with Rampage, I would love to see like a full 16 women in Rampage eventually. That would be really cool. And more proving grounds around the world and Rampage. Like, it'd be sick to see different Rampages around the world too.
Yeah.
You're going to see more and more women at hardline, Red Bull Hardline. That's for sure. You know, that's happening right now.
I would love to give hardline a go. Yeah, like
I feel like you'd be perfect.
Speaking of the right man, I'll put your name down. Don't you worry.
Yeah, it'd be sick to go to Australia for sure. That track looks so fun.
Well, you've got everything you need for it. World Cup racer, free rider. You're there. You are the free racer. You can do it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see for sure.
Yeah. Do you think about your legacy in the sport?
I don't know if I care too much about legacy, but I honestly just want what I would have wanted for the other girls. That's basically, I've said it before, but yeah, I just want to help bring these other girls up. And, you know, I don't care about being remembered or anything like that, but yeah, it's pretty cool to see all these young girls, you know, coming to me for like advice and stuff. Amazing. Like even like Morgan Antone, like she's brand new on the scene. She does like cliffhangers on her bike. She's insane.
Does she really?
She does.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, she's super young and coming. Yeah.
You've had a mad career, like we say, of like downhill, enduro, now freeride. Looking back, what would be the sort of most fondest memory so far? Because you're a long way from done yet.
Oh, fondest memories.
What would you take out of, you know, getting to this point? What?
Honestly, I think like the first year of Dark Horse and really meeting Lucy, and she was a racer on clips and was and just like she was down about racing. She was like, it's not really for me, but it's like I feel pressure because I'm on this team to go do this thing, and I'm like, well, you know, like women's freeride.
A little bit,
over.
And then she just like took it and took all that energy from that event, and it changed her life. And now she's like, doing complete edits that are insane to watch, whether you're a dude or a chick. Like they're so sick. And
one of the best in the world. And I mean, it is crazy for you to have created that event that has...
Yeah, I mean, it's just like this little grassroots event. And a lot of the time when you have events that aren't a contest, they're really hard to get off the ground, but they're so important for the progression of the sport.
Yeah. That's where it starts.
Yeah, it is where it starts. At no pressure, like collaboration with your friends. It's like there's no competitiveness, so you get like people helping each other out more, you know? So you
need a soft introduction,
soft entry.
That's right. It is. And it's like you're riding with your mates and all of a sudden you're dropping in on your own and being marked for scored. I mean, it's very different, isn't it?
Totally different.
It's not like racing. Freeride, like you said, freeride competition almost goes a little bit against freeride, kind of, not like downhill where
it's not
as
like, free. It's a little less free.
That's right. Yeah.
So maybe to wrap up, can you give us a little preview of what you're going to be building at Rampage?
Have you got an idea? Have you been there and seen it? Or how does it work? Do you just turn up on day one and they go, there's your valley?
Yeah. So we have been sent like some images of the site, but honestly, if you look at them, it's not, you're not getting anything out of it. Like, I only get like
satellite images of it. I mean, like,
just
you're a long way
photograph-
off.
yeah, just like no, but honestly, you just got to write them off because it's going to be so different when you get there and you see the actual terrain, what the shapes are and stuff. So I'm so excited for the scope day, and first dig days are going to be so fun. Last dig days are going to be really hard.
You got that experience, I suppose, you know?
Yeah.
Been there and done a bit of digging, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be gnarly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that I just want to build a line that is really like for my style of riding and that I feel really good on. It's not going to be like crazy riding out of my skin drops. I just want to like make a really fun run that sort of portrays style and like what it feels like to ride a bike well. So yeah.
I can't wait to watch. I think this is going to be such a cool year.
Life coming up. That's what it feels like. I mean, so like, I feel it. I'm excited for you. This is it. You're peaking.
I'm peaking.
Peaking. Yeah, it's right. Amazing.
Casey, I mean, it's so nice to have you on. Like I said, we've known each other for so long, and to see what you have done with the sport, and like to see how you've changed the sport. Like everyone, men and women, I think, look up to you, and so it's just
absolutely,
it's awesome.
Cheers.
It's awesome to see what you've done, and thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you guys. Yeah,
brilliant.
Thank you guys.
Brilliant.